Hello, everyone. This is Thomas Pepin NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin, and let's talk about the NHL. So today, uh, pretty much, basically, I'm just going to go over my predictions. Should be relatively simple and quick stream. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Uh, but yeah, I'm going to compare my predictions to the standings in the end. Of course, it's not finalized, but all the playoff spots are decided. So at least it's for all intents and purposes, it's done. It's just things might adjust by a position or whatever. Um, so yeah, we'll go over who made the playoffs versus my predictions of the standings. And then just kind of talk about the season generally. And that's about it. So pretty straightforward. So let's get started. Just one sec to pull things up. All right. So actually, I'll move this over a bit. So on the left-hand side, we have my predictions. Right-hand side, the actual results. And I guess just to start, so broadly speaking, my predictions were about the same as every year that I've done predictions. Well, essentially I've done sports betting, where what's the number? I think it's here. Give me one sec, because this is relevant. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, so in the seasons prior to the COVID years, the average turnover of teams who made the playoffs from one season to the next season is 6. So 2014-15 was 7 teams, 15-16 5, 16-17 7, 17-18 7, and 18-19 5. So the average of all that is basically dead on at 6. Now, of course, none of those seasons had 6 teams of turnover, but yeah, I mean, the average is the average. So anyways, just wanted to mention that. And so in effect, now I don't know the exact number, we'll discover as we go here, but it seems as though I get typically 5 to 7 wrong every season in terms of predictions of who's going to make the playoffs. Now, in terms of who wins the cup, now it's not entirely accurate, but essentially, well, at least in the 4 years that I've been doing sports betting, I've gotten my bet to turn a good profit. And so that doesn't necessarily mean exactly predicting the Stanley Cup winner, but it is futures for the Stanley Cup winner. And one of my bets turns out making me money altogether from all my bets. So in terms of getting it right, I've been right the past 4 seasons. But in terms of the full standings, I don't tend to get that right because it's just way too difficult. And there's, like I said, so much turnover that, so if it's 6 teams, what percentage is that? 6 divided by 16 is, so it's 37.5% of the teams turn over. And to choose those ones, to get it right, I mean, it's super difficult. So that's why a lot of analysts don't even give predictions. Um, but that's why even, people that know hockey still get it wrong. So, anyway, so just a bit of background. Um, but like I said, we'll see exactly how many I got wrong. It should be between 5 and 7, somewhere around there. So, we'll start with, I guess, the Atlantic because it's the first on my list. So, Boston, it's not done yet, but 64 wins, 12 losses, 5 overtimes, breaking the NHL's record for wins. Like, I mean, it's been an unreal season. Nobody could have predicted that. People were thinking they might not even make the playoffs. Um, I had them in ahead of Toronto. So I at least recognized that they were a good team. Now, I still had them behind the Panthers and the Lightning, and that's obviously not the case. But in any case, I knew they were going to be a decent team. It's just, did anybody know they were going to be this good? I doubt it. So, or at least anybody that's honest. So, anyway, so Boston, it's a shockingly good season. There's not really much more to say. Don't know if I think for the most part they've been healthy. I won't bother going into man games lost and all that stuff because what's the point? But yeah, so Boston, they're a standout, not even close to anybody else. 133 points, unreal. So anyway, so Boston was a surprise to me for how good they did, but not surprised that they made the playoffs. So that's one I matched up there. Toronto finishing second in the division. I thought Toronto was actually going to take a step back, although I think I prefer this goalie tandem versus the previous one. Um, who was it? Was it Mrazek and Campbell? I know Campbell for sure. I think it was Mrazek. But anyways, um, I thought there was going to be issues with their goaltending. Uh, I thought they were going to have more trouble than they did. So I think I've underestimated Toronto in the big picture, and I'll probably never, so long as the team composition is approximately the same, I can't predict for them to miss the playoffs. So I've learned my lesson, I guess. We'll see what happens next season, but so I'm going to have them in next season probably, as long as there's no major changes, and I don't think there will be. Um, yeah, so I was wrong on Toronto. Uh, I I underestimated, I guess, across the board. I thought their defense wasn't going to be strong enough in their goaltending. I thought those two were going to be their uh, problems and their scoring depth. To be honest, again, I wanted to pull up their roster, but I won't bother. It's just very high end, top heavy is what I meant to say. So I thought they would regress, have a bad season, but I was wrong. So anyways, so I had them out, but they're in. And of course, in my predictions before the season, uh, I argued that Leafs could have been in over Hurricanes, and that things could have been different. But um, anyways, so got that one wrong. Tampa pretty much got it dead on, finishing right in the middle of their division. Uh, they look as good as normal. I mean, yeah, not as high in the standings and all that, but I mean, they've had back to back to back to back whatever playoffs and Stanley Cup finals and all that. So you can't have the best full season every season. So for me, I'm not surprised. Pretty much exactly as you'd expect. Um, and no, we won't stop there actually because we'll go through my standings now. So Panthers I had at the top, but they just squeaked in. Funny enough, I think it was either during the trade deadline live stream I did, or the post trade deadline. What did I call it? Review, something like that. Outlook, I think. Um, where I was saying that I thought the Islanders and Pittsburgh were going to hold the final two spots in the East. But if any team was going to actually come in was Florida, and sure enough, Florida did. But again, well, I guess my actual prediction was that Pittsburgh would have stayed in, but um, they didn't in the end, and Florida came in. Um, so there's that. But anyway, so before the season, I predicted the Panthers to be at the top of the division. Clearly, didn't finish that high. Had a really tough start. Maybe I underestimated the learning curve of having a new coach. That could be something. Mind you, Boston had a brand new coach and they did as good as they did. So it's just, you can't really predict some of these things. So, and so it might not have been coaching. Who knows? Really is the honest truth. I don't know. But they finished in a wild card spot, undetermined yet if it's going to be the bottom one or if it's going to be ahead of the Islanders. We'll see. So in terms of number of playoff spots or number of correct playoff teams, so I got Panthers, Lightning, Bruins, all three correct. Got the Leafs wrong. So not bad. I mean, 3 for 4 in that division. And I mean, the season kind of turned out, at least for that division, similar to what I was expecting. But basically, just the flip was Boston and Florida. Pretty much, and well, Leafs, I mean, higher than I expected, but I'm not surprised that they're in. So, yeah, and then moving over to the Metropolitan, I had Pittsburgh at the top. Or wait, we'll go actually, sorry, from the actual results and then look at mine. So Carolina in the top spot. As of right now, could be New Jersey in the end. But I did have them to make the playoffs. I had them in the last spot. And similar to Toronto, I thought they were going to regress, but they didn't. And they played well, and they finished at the top. So that was a surprise in terms of how good they did. Making the playoffs, not much of a surprise, really. Second spot, New Jersey. I had them below the Flyers even in their division. I forget, but I think I said, so what I think I said at the beginning of the season was that I could see the Flyers and Devils making the playoffs, but it just seemed unlikely. So just the final spot could have been any of those. And likewise, I think I said the same thing for Red Wings and Senators. So I said Canadian Sabres and Blue Jackets. I think I said for sure I thought we're going to miss the playoffs. And actually, maybe I should go back and talk about the other teams that missed, but we'll leave it for now. What's going on with this thing? There we go. So anyways, so New Jersey, I mean, wasn't like it could never happen, but it just seemed extremely unlikely to me. I thought they weren't going to be good enough. I had Tortorella with the Flyers being a better shot because of the style of play he likes. So I could have seen them make it, but they didn't, obviously, as well. So, anyways, it's not a crazy surprise that New Jersey made the playoffs, but how high they finished, that's kind of surprising. So, got that one wrong, that's for sure. Rangers to be kind of middle of the pack, that's exactly what I was expecting. Um, Now they picked up a whole bunch of players, so we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But yeah, they were pretty much right where I was expecting. And then last I have the Islanders, and so there I had them in the middle of the pack, which essentially they're middle of the pack too. Mind you, they just squeaked in, but uh, middle of the pack is essentially the same thing. So got that one more or less right. Where I was completely wrong is right at the top of the standings in the Metropolitan. So Penguins just missed. So not far off on the fact that they would make the playoffs, but far off on where they would finish. And then Capitals, they were close, and then they really have done poorly as of late. So mind you, they've had some important injuries. I know that for sure. Or injuries to important players, I guess is a better way to put it. So it was definitely wrong on those two spots. So altogether, I got 1, 2, 3 right. 3, 4, 4. Is that right? 3 for 4, but I chose an extra team, so um, so that's where it depends on how you want to argue that. Um, so altogether for the East, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 8 teams I chose to make the playoffs. So not a bad hit rate. Not the best. So 2 wrong, essentially. So not, yeah, I mean, I would say not so good, not bad, good enough. And then just briefly on the other spots there. So Ottawa's up. They were competing for a playoff spot, and I thought they were going to look relatively good. Same with Detroit for a chunk of the year. Buffalo was a big surprise. I'm not sure how they're going to pan out next season. Some people are probably going to think, oh well, they're moving up, and they could be another New Jersey, to be honest, next season. But I don't think their defense and goaltending is good enough. I'm interested to see if Levi plays next season because he played well in college and he's played well so far in the NHL. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Buffalo. So I'm really undecided on them. I don't know what's going to happen with them. Ottawa, they need to figure out their goaltending because I think Talbot expires this offseason. I don't know if they have any goalies under contract, but we'll see. Anyways, not so critical, but Ottawa, they're probably going to do better next season or around the same. Detroit, likewise. Washington, you could see them easily back in the playoffs. Philly, yeah, it could be one of those they make the playoffs next season, but they're probably going to be on the outside looking in again. Montreal, definitely not. Columbus, definitely not, in my opinion, unless there's major changes in the offseason. But and Pittsburgh, they could be right back in the playoffs too. So really, next season, I would say is probably approximately the same as this season in terms of who's going to make it and not. And then you're going to see those the changes that, as per normal, of 5 to 7 teams altogether split between the two conferences. So, anyways, so that's it for the East. Oh, hey Caleb, nice to see you again. Just recognized saw your message there. All right, so now moving over to the West. We'll start with the Pacific. So I had, or actually, sorry, we'll go with the actual standings first. So Vegas, first spot, I had them fourth. Uh, and if I recall correctly, I had it basically Knights and Kings. Either of the two could have made the playoffs. Uh, Flames, I think I put in the same group, but I thought they were more likely to make the playoffs. But basically, all those three teams were kind of interchangeable. So kind of surprised that Vegas is at the top. Not crazy surprised because they're a very deep team, uh, offensively, defensively. What I thought was going to hurt them was Leonard's not playing, but their goaltending was good all the same. So, and they had a lot of injuries too. So, for them to do that well, I mean, it shows you that their coaching, their depth, uh, team play is really good. So, I underestimated their capabilities. So, I'll probably. Uh, well, I will learn from that mistake, and I'm pretty sure they'll be good next season because I don't think there's any major changes coming. Uh, so I was off, I think, by enough. Mind you, it's pretty close. Like, I mean, the standings there, um, but I was off enough where I did underestimate Vegas. Edmonton, they're pretty much right where I was expecting. I thought they'd be at the top, probably by more. Um, so I you could say, overestimated how good they'd be, but not by a crazy amount, I don't think. So pretty much more or less exactly what I was predicting for Edmonton. Los Angeles, like I said, they could have been in. So for them to be in and Calgary to be out is not surprising. Uh, so I got it wrong, but uh, it's more or less exactly what I was thinking would happen. Um, so yeah, but I did get that wrong, obviously. And then we have Seattle. I had them further out, so I'm quite surprised that they did make the playoffs. So that one I definitely did get wrong. I didn't think they were even within reach of making. So definitely got that wrong. Similar to New Jersey in a sense in terms of the difference between what I was expecting and where they finished. So um, yeah, so got that one wrong. And then moving to my predictions, Vancouver got that way wrong. I really don't know. I thought they would be a way better team, but clearly they weren't. And so there's something wrong. Uh, I mean, they have their roster composition was not bad at all. And it's a similar team to the team that I forget how deep they went, but they made the playoffs a couple of years ago or something. And I think when was it the conference finals or something? Um, but anyway, so I was really off on that one, and I'm surprised about that. Um, and that's being off way from the beginning. So yeah, they traded away Horvat, and so yeah, they wouldn't have done good since. But uh, still, I'm surprised they were lacking across the board. Goaltending wasn't good enough, defense wasn't good enough, scoring wasn't good enough. Lots of problems, and I don't like the coaching change either. So I don't think they'll make the playoffs next season. So I got that one way wrong. Um, Flames, like I said, interchangeable. So got it wrong, but not by a large margin. And then basically that's about it. So for that division, I was 2 for 4. So not so good, but not horrible again. Yeah. So, anyways, and then going over to Central, we have uh, Dallas currently at the top spot. Again, these could flip. We've still got a couple games for Colorado, one game for Dallas. So, uh, how it's actually going to pan out, it's, who knows. And the exact standings, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's more who makes the playoffs and who doesn't. So Dallas first. That's surprising to me. I had them at the bottom. Mind you, I think I had similar to the Pacific. I think I had Predators, Stars, and Jets interchangeable. Um, so I mean, I had them towards the bottom, but I did have them in. So didn't get that right. Similar to Vegas. Mind you, I don't think Dallas is as good of a team as they finish in the standings. I think they are kind of a bubble team. And when you look at their points, they're not far off really from being a bubble team anyways. So, yeah. So anyways, Dallas, I don't think I was that far off. Yes, in terms of position, but in terms of how good they were, pretty much more or less what I was expecting. Colorado could finish at the top, but they're towards the top. Uh, I had a feeling that they would not do as well this season. I think I said in the preseason predictions that Blues and Avalanche could have flipped, because I didn't think too highly of the Avalanche, but they did in fact do not as good as last season, but similar enough. So, but I had them towards the top, so I was pretty much right on that. Minnesota had them a couple spots out. Not crazy surprised, but I didn't have them making the playoffs. So I was wrong there. Mind you, they're not too deep into playoff spots, so not crazy surprising, but I was wrong there. So that's that. And then Winnipeg, like I said, interchangeable with the Predators and Stars, and so them being in is not surprising. And then the Predators are just out anyways, so pretty much dead on for that prediction, but again wrong. So in this, and sorry, going over to mine. So Blues, I thought they'd be way better. Clearly weren't, and had struggles the whole season. Don't really understand why. Could just be an off year. I mean, Washington was so good and they didn't make the playoffs. Pittsburgh missed the playoffs. Could just be an off year. Mind you, now they don't have O'Reilly and Tarasenko. So next season, I don't know what they're going to do with their team, but if it's similar composition to what it is now, they're going to be a bubble team probably. So I got them wrong by a chunk. What's this? Yeah, same sort of story as Vancouver. I was way off on my prediction there, but it happens. So altogether for this division, 2 for 2 again. So for the conference, 4 for 8. And then if we combine the two, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 4, 10 for 18. So from the target of 5 to 7 teams turnover, so I was off by 1 for being kind of a normal turnover. So predictions altogether, I would say kind of below average, not so good, not horrible either. We'll see how the playoffs turn out, because so the teams, So of the teams that didn't make it, that I had picked for, decent playoff runs. So Pittsburgh, I had as a shot for a deep run, but they're out. Um, Capitals, I didn't have for a deep run. And that's it. So really, in terms of for my actual bets that I have, the only one I really lost on in the East is Pittsburgh, but I still have plenty of good bets for the rest, which I can't share because I don't want to give away everything. And then in the West, I had money on the Canucks for potentially a deep run, and the Blues as well. So those two, unfortunately, got wrong by a chunk, and so clearly can't make money on them. But in this case, in the West, I don't have money on many teams, but the teams that I think probably will go furthest, I do have money on them. So it's not looking as promising in the West for me, but still could easily turn out being right in terms of my bets for money and stuff. So, but we'll see how it actually pans out in the end. So my prediction for the Stanley Cup final was, and I guess still is, Oilers versus Islanders. Now, I haven't watched enough games, to be honest, at all this whole season. All my stuff is based on numbers and just, general analysis, I guess you could say. So like roster composition and things like that. So I watched most of the Montreal game with the Islanders yesterday, and the Islanders looked pretty poor in terms of their puck movement, decision making. Mind you, it's just one game, but their season hasn't been that good. So I'm probably going to be wrong on the Islanders going deep. I can't change it now because, that was my predictions at the beginning of the season. So, so I'll leave that because I will have other predictions, starting tomorrow for the rounds coming up. But so we'll leave it for now. The Islanders have been a good team. I think with their coaching change, they're not going to be as strong. If they had Trotz still as their coach, I would be confident that they'd go deep. But I don't feel like their coaching is probably as strong as. So I thought the team was better. I thought the team was good enough to do well without Trotz, and I think I'm wrong. But we'll see exactly how it all turns out in the end. So we'll still keep my prediction for the final the same because I can't change that now. But in terms of how all the rounds go, that's a different story. I won't have the same predictions because of the matchups and stuff. So that's it for recapping my preseason predictions. So, like I said, it was 10 for 16. So, wait. Was it 10 for 16? So, 6 plus 4. No, so I was, sorry, I think I said 18. So my bad. So I was right on target. I got 6 wrong. Because, I had 6 and 8. East and 4 in the West. So yeah, I was dead on, getting 6 wrong. 6 is the average turnover, and that's pretty much, yeah. So that's what you can expect, plus or minus. So um, yeah, so actually not that bad in the end. Sorry, I made a stupid, because I think about 8 per conference, and then I said 18, I think. So anyways, so not that bad, not good either. I mean, you'd hope to be better. Uh, and the thing that sucks for me is, like I said, out of the West, didn't get enough teams right for my bets for me to feel too confident about them. But uh, yeah, for the East, I've got some pretty solid bets. So we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. And I mean, only one team comes out of the East and one team comes out of the West. So really, in the end, I mean, my bets could still be perfectly fine. It just depends on who beats who. So yeah. So then that's it for today. So starting tomorrow, I don't have it. I have it scheduled. Don't have it titled, but I'm going to be doing matchup predictions or previews and predictions. And so each round, what I'm going to do is take a look at the matchup, give my prediction on who's going to win and how many games. Can I do that yet? Because what I was thinking of, so every season I do my Stanley Cup bracket that NHL.com offers. I don't think there's a way I'm going to be able to do that just with um, the way the scheduling is going to work out, because the playoffs start on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm doing a preview tomorrow. Well, it depends on if the matchups are certain after tonight, but I doubt they will be. So, anyways, so we'll see if I'll be able to use that. Hopefully I can. If not, then I mean, I'm just going to give my predictions on the matchups. But I think at the very least the matchups are going to be determined after tonight. It's going to be close, but we'll see. Anyways, so hopefully I can use that as a reference tool. Maybe not. But whatever. So, yeah, so starting tomorrow, I don't know which matchups I'm going to do a preview for. What I wanted to do was by division, but it might have to be by the matchups that are certain, because there should be so what I was going to do is 2 per day for 4 days. So today's Thursday, so Friday, Saturday, 2 matchups each day. Monday, some of the matchups that I won't have started. Well, none of them will have started when I do my stream. And then the Tuesday is going to be whichever 2 that aren't started. So it's going to be really in flux on which ones I decide to do for each day. But essentially, like I said, just going to be previewing the matchups and giving my predictions, so you can kind of see my predictions as we go. And if I can use the Stanley Cup predictor thing that NHL.com offers, then that's what I'm going to try to use. But anyways, so we'll see how it all shakes out, because like I said, things are kind of uncertain. We have the playoff teams, just who's playing who is not certain. So anyway, so that's what's coming up. Yeah, what I'd like to do is show you my full predictions for the whole playoffs, but I might have to do that partway through anyways. We'll kind of see. So that's it. That's what's coming up, and we'll leave it there. So if you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. Otherwise, channel homepage has upcoming streams. There's no set time moving forward because of the playoffs. So, like I said, the plan is to do previews for each round with my predictions, and then recaps, or maybe one recap at the end. I'm undecided on that. But yeah, so it's going to be kind of based on how the playoffs all shake out. I might throw in other streams here and there in between, depending on how long the rounds go. If they go long, then I'll probably throw in random topics here and there that I have a handful that I can come back on and fill in the gaps. But if things are relatively quick, then I'll save those for other times where things are slower. But yeah, so long story short, if you want to know when I'm streaming next, just check the channel homepage. I think I'm done preparing for one portion of my NHL 23 stream series that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be doing a Be a Pro stream series, and then franchise one. I've done all my testing, I think, for the Be a Pro one. So I might start that soon. So there might be more streams as we go. I might incorporate them, but I might wait until a second or third round to start incorporating those, just to give myself more time to test things, and also to prepare, and because there's going to be enough stuff from the playoffs at least to begin, and whatever other content I'll do, I don't think I'll incorporate it yet, but should soon, at the very least, do the Be a Pro series. And then after that, the franchise, I still have a lot of work to do on that. Playing around with that and learning about it, because it's been... So the last NHL game I had was NHL 14, so it was 10 years ago. So at least with the Be a Pro, I played quite well in the Be a Pro. So that, I think I'm ready to go. And the sliders that I've found and used, I think are pretty accurate for what I want. I want it to be realistic, and they've been really realistic. So, but I still kind of want to test it. So that one's closest to being ready. Franchise is a little bit further away. We'll hold back on that one probably, at the very least, until later on in the playoffs. But it could be till after the playoffs that I start doing that one. So anyway, so that just to give you an idea of what's coming up. So we'll leave it there. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow with the first set of previews and predictions for the playoffs. Whoever they are, I don't know yet, but we'll see based on what comes up tonight. So see you guys then.